mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, "Let thy light be in me like a fire that makes all alive. Let thy divine love penetrate me. I aspire with all my being for thy reign as sovereign and master of my mind and heart and body. Let them be thy docile instruments and thy faithful servitors. With my love and blessing, says our Divine Mother." Words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Words of our Divine Mother. Topic: Trust in the Mother's Grace in Difficulties. Date: 27th May 1936. Our Divine Mother says, "What is needed is perseverance, to go on without discouragement, recognizing that the process of the nature and the action of the Divine Mother's force is working through the difficulty and will do all that is needed. Our incapacity does not matter. There is no human being who is not in his parts of nature incapable, but the divine force is also there. If one puts one's trust in that, incapacity will be changed into capacity. Difficulty and struggle themselves then become a means towards achievement, says our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, "Do not brood over your difficulties. Leave them to the Mother. Leave them to the Divine Mother, and let her force work them out for you." Never allow this idea, "I am not able to, I am not doing enough," to come and vex you. It is a tamasic suggestion and brings depression, and depression opens the way to the attacks of the wrong forces. Your position should be, "Let me do what I can." The Divine Mother's force is there. The Divine Mother is there to see that in due time all will be done, says our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, not to be disturbed, not to be disturbed, to remain quiet and confident is the right attitude, but it is necessary also to receive the help of the Mother and not to stand back for any reason from her solicitude. One ought not to indulge ideas of incapacity, inability to respond, dwelling too much on defects and failures, and allowing the mind to be in pain and shame on their account. For these ideas and feelings become in the end weakening things. If there are difficulties, stumblings, or failures, one has to look at them quietly and call in tranquilly and persistently the divine's help for their removal, but not to allow oneself to be upset or pained or discouraged. Our Divine Mother says integral yoga is not an easy path, and the total change of the nature cannot be done in a way in a day. All this is of no utility. Complaining, questioning, etc. of this kind should be put aside. You have to go on quietly without depression or trouble, receiving the Divine Mother's forces, allowing them to work, allowing the Divine Mother's forces to work, rejecting all that stands in their way, but not be troubled by difficulty or defects in yourself or by any delay or slowness in the working, says our Divine Mother. Do not admit any of the suggestions of despair or impatience. Give time. Give time for the Divine Mother's force to act. Our Divine Mother says, this kind of grief and despondency are the worst obstacles one can rise up. One can raise up in the sadhana. They ought not to be indulged in. What one cannot do oneself, one can get done by calling the Divine Mother's force. To receive that and let it work in you is the true means of success in the sadhana. Let me repeat. Our Divine Mother says this kind of grief and despondency are the worst obstacles one can raise up in the sadhana. They ought not to be indulged in. What one cannot do oneself, one can get done by the Mother's force. To receive that and let it work in you is the true means of success in the sadhana. Whatever difficulties still remain, be sure that they will be surmounted. There is no need for the outer being to be nervous. The Mother's divine force and the devotion within you will be sufficient to overcome all that stands in the way.
Le maître souverain de nos vies et dissipe toutes les obscurités qui peuvent encore nous empêcher de te voir et communier constamment avec toi. Libère-nous de toute ignorance, libère-nous de nous-mêmes, afin que nous ouvrions toutes grandes les portes de ta glorieuse manifestation. Lord, become the sovereign master of our lives and dispel all the darkness which can still prevent us from seeing and constantly communing with Thee. Liberate us from all ignorance, liberate us from ourselves, that we may open wide the doors of Thy glorious manifestation.
Our Divine Mother says, there is no reason to be discouraged. Fluctuation that gradually grows nearer to the point where progress becomes possible. One has to cling firmly to the faith in the Divine Mother's working. One has to cleave firmly to the faith in the Divine Mother's working behind all appearances and you will find that will carry you through. You should not yield to sorrow or despair. There is no reason why you should. The Divine Mother's grace has not been withdrawn from you even for a moment. The Divine Mother's grace has not been withdrawn from you for a moment, even for a moment. Do not allow the attacks of others to shake you like this. You know very well the motives from which they act, and for the rest, they are not going to pursue any further the course which a fit of passion dictated to them. Our Divine Mother says, the protection will be with you. You need not fear or sorrow any longer. You need not fear or sorrow any longer. Put your trust in the Divine. Put your trust in the Divine. Shake off all this like a nightmare that has passed. Believe that our love and grace are with you, says our Divine Mother.
दशवक्त्रा दशभुजा दशपादाञ्जनप्रभा विशालया राजमाना त्रिंशल्लोचनमालया स्फुरद्दशनद्रङ्ष्ट्रा सा भीमरूपापि भूमिप रूपसौभाग्यकान्तीनां सा प्रतिष्ठा महर्षिया एषा सा वैष्णवी माया महाकाली दुरत्यया आराधिता वशीकुर्यात् पूजा कर्तुश्चराचर सर्वदेवशरीरेभ्यो याभिर्भूताहमितप्रभा त्रिगुणा सा महालक्ष्मीः साक्षान् महिषमर्दिनी साक्षान् महिषमर्दिनी साक्षान् महिषमर्दिनी गन्धपुष्पे एकधिपतये देवा ॐ श्री दुर्गाय नमः श्री मीराय नमः ॐ श्री मीराय नमः ॐ कमलोत्पलधारिण्यां शक्त्या लिङ्गितविग्रहं स्मेराननं सुप्रसन्नं साधकाभीष्टदायकम् ॐ गुरुभ्यो नमः ॐ परमगुरुभ्यो नमः एषु यर्घः ॐ श्री अरविन्दाय नमः एषु यर्घः ॐ श्री अरविन्दाय नमः श्री अरविन्दाय नमः.
Our Divine Mother says, there has always been too much reliance on the action of your mind and will. That is why you cannot progress. If you could once get the habit of silent reliance on the power of the Divine Mother, not mere calling it in to support your own effort, the obstacle would diminish and eventually disappear. Our Divine Mother says, the more one is open to the Divine Mother's action, the more one is open to the Divine Mother's action, the more easily the difficulties get solved and the right thing is done. Lord Sri Aurobindo says, remember that the Mother is always with you. Remember that the Divine Mother is always with you. Address her as follows, and she will put you out of all the difficulties. O sweet Mother, thou art the light of my intelligence, the purity of my soul, the quiet strength of my vital, the endurance of my body. I rely on Thee alone and want to be entirely Thine. Make me surmount all obstacles on the way. Our Divine Mother says, difficulties are exclusively to make the realization more perfect. Every time we try to realize something, meet with a resistance or an obstacle or even a failure, what seems to be a failure, we should know. We should never forget that it is exclusively, absolutely, so that the realization may be more perfect. This habit of clinging, getting discouraged, or feeling uncomfortable, or abusing yourself, telling yourself again and again that all is foolishness. Simply tell yourself, we do not know how to do things as they ought to be done. They have been done for us, come what may. And if we could see to what extent all that seems to be, yes, a difficulty, a mistake, a failure, an obstacle, all that is just to help us to realize, to become more and more perfect. Once you know that, everything becomes easy. Shocks and trials always come as a divine grace to show us the points in our being where we fall short and the moments in which we turn our back on our soul by listening to the clamor of our mental and vital being. If we know how to accept these spiritual blows with due humility, we are sure to cover a great distance at a single bound. If you truly love the divine, if you truly love the divine, prove it by remaining quiet and peaceful. All that comes to each one in life comes from the divine to teach us a lesson. If we take it in the right spirit, we make rapid progress. Difficulties come because there are possibilities in you. In life, everything was easy, then it would become a life of nothing if it were so. Because difficulties come on our way, it shows you have possibilities, so do not be afraid. The Lord considers that He is ready for the spiritual life if you are able to change the circumstances by relying on the divine force. Our Divine Mother says, the difficulties always come to make us progress. The greater the difficulty, the greater can be progress. Be confident and endure. The hours preceding victory are most often most difficult. For the individual surrender, it is the last resistance, somewhat quiet, insignificant, that they are the most obstinate and difficult to conquer. But with a great obstinacy, a victorious conclusion of fight is certain. Never complain about difficulties. He who wants to advance on the path of perfection must never complain. about the difficulties, for each one is an opportunity. To complain is a sign of weakness and insincerities. Never grumble. All sorts of forces enter you when you grumble and they pull you down. Keep smiling. I seem always to be joking, but it is not a mere joking. It is a confidence born from the psychic. A smile expresses the faith that nothing can stand against the divine and that everything will come out all right in the end. If you are not satisfied with what you are, take advantage of the divine's help and change yourself. If you have the courage to change, submit to your destiny and keep quiet. But to constantly complain about the conditions you are in without doing anything to change is a waste of time and energy. The difficulties can disappear only when the egoistic concentration upon desires and conveniences disappear. Never worry, do with sincerity all you do and leave the results to the divine's care. Let us live each day without anxiety. It is a lack of confidence when you are anxiety. It is a lack of confidence in the divine's grace. And it shows that the consecration is not complete and perfect. Live in the consciousness of the eternal, and you will have no more worry, says our Divine Mother.